Hey Chiefs Kingdom, before we jump into today's rumors and news video, we're exactly 100 subscribers away from hitting 14,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. It helps us out. I would greatly appreciate it. We're plugging out videos almost every single day for you guys. Hell, I'm filming from home today in Texas because we got like 6 inches of snow and ice, and unlike the Midwest, we don't have snow trucks down here, snow plows, but care about you guys that much. We're plugging out videos anyway, so subscribe. Let's hit 14,000 subs as soon as possible. With that being said, we'll go ahead and hop on into today's video. Okay, let's get to the latest Chiefs news and rumors. I am your host, Harrison Graham. We'll go ahead and jump on in here to Sammy Watkins. How about re-signing the free agent receiver? Veach said recently that, quote, "will try to re-sign Sammy Watkins." What else is he going to say, right? Like, he's not going to say, that's been there, done that. He realizes, hey, it's a player we like. It's a player that's done a lot for us. He's not just going to say, that ship has sailed. The problem is a couple of things. One, Sammy Watkins has not been able to stay healthy, especially this past season. He was banged up most of the year, played in 10 games, but it never really was 100% outside of the first few games of the season. Tried to get back for the Super Bowl. Obviously wasn't much of a factor. I think he played 16, 17 snaps. Got out-snapped by Byron Pringle, of all people. For him to return, it's going to have to be pretty team-friendly for that to happen. So I'm not very confident. I'm pretty confident Sammy Watkins is gone. I won't say it's 100%. I'll put it at about 85 or 90, though. Like, look, if Watkins approaches management and is like, hey, I'll take a team-friendly, cheap one-year deal for like $3.5 million, sure, that could change things, but despite the injury, someone out there is going to throw $7-8 million at Sammy Watkins. At least I think that's what's going to happen, and that's going to be hard to turn down considering Kansas City may be able to offer like half of that at the end of the day. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll offer him $6-7 million, but I just don't think that'll be very likely for Sammy Watkins. I appreciate him. He came up big in the first 2 playoff runs he was a part of, especially in the Super Bowl winning season for Kansas City. I just think his time in Kansas City is likely up now that he is a free agent. So, reply to the pinned comment. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. Where will Sammy Watkins play next year? Type C for Chiefs, type O for other. If I haven't been clear, I'm going to type my O for other. I don't think he's in Kansas City, but get your votes in, C for Chiefs or O for other. Speaking of wide receivers, Mecole Hardman is a bigger role in store for him. Well, he certainly hopes so starting in 2021. Now, Hardman's a player I talked about a lot this past offseason coming into 2020 as, hey, maybe he unseats Sammy Watkins as wide receiver 2. That obviously did not happen. Even when Watkins was in and out, guys like Demarcus Robinson were out snapping Hardman for most of the season outside of the playoff run. But now Hardman wants a bigger role. Entering year 3 now. Bigger offseason ahead for Mecole, obviously, with Watkins, Pringle, and Demarcus Robinson all set as free agents. As of now, he is the wide receiver number 2. Now, that's before free agency, that's before the draft, that's before the Chiefs make a final decision on Watkins, but Mecole Hardman's confident in his abilities and wants to take that step forward within this Chiefs offense. Here's what Mecole had to say recently, saying, quote, "I can really run routes really well. I get out of my breaks well. A lot of people think I can't run routes." I'm like, what? People have been misunderstanding that I can't run routes. I'm very capable of running every route on the tree. He went on to say that, I get asked to run a lot of deep routes because we got guys like Tyreek and Sammy and Kelsey who can do everything, obviously. But he believes he can be that guy as well. Now, Hardman's done some good things. You look at his first couple of years. 2019, he really maximized his opportunities on just 41 targets, 26 catches, 538 through the receiving there, over 20 yards a catch, had 6 receiving touchdowns. I think he had a couple of more touchdowns as well, 1 rushing, 1 on the return game also. 2020, the increase in opportunities wasn't as big as I thought. 62 targets, 41 catches, 560 lower yards per catch, but I think that is evidence of utilizing more routes for him, not as many deep balls per se. 4 touchdowns, so still productive, but certainly not, wide receiver 2 worthy, at least through 2 years. Here's where I sit. I'm not sure the Chiefs trust Mecole Hardman as a number 2 wide receiver. There have been questions brought up about his route running ability in the past. There were a couple times this year where on, out routes or comeback routes, you see Mahomes, pointing to him saying, hey, come back to the football. We've seen that happen in the past. Now, Mecole Hardman's capable. He's very fast. He's a good weapon. Do the Chiefs trust him as a number 2 receiver? I'm not so sure. So answer this question for me. Should Mecole Hardman have a bigger role next year? You're number 3, obviously. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. I think he probably should, but that doesn't mean Kansas City shouldn't and won't be aggressive in either bringing in a veteran receiver or drafting one in the early rounds of the 2021 NFL Draft. Y for yes, N for no. Will Hardman have a bigger role next season? Now, something you should definitely take advantage of, it should be a Y for yes, is this Patrick Mahomes jersey deal. You can get this red one for just $79.99 when you go to the link on screen. It's chatsports.com/MahomesRed, chatsports.com/MahomesRed. This Patrick Mahomes jersey comes in all sizes at just $79.99, less than $80. What a deal. Chatsports.com/MahomesRed. I'll put that link in the comments. I'll put it in the description. Take advantage of this deal. One more time, the link is chatsports.com/MahomesRed. All right, how about J.J. Watt? We haven't talked about J.J. Watt since he got released by the Houston Texans. Obviously, that happened last week. He wants to play for a contender moving forward. That much is very clear, at least in my opinion, and there's some chatter of that as well. He's an older player. He wants to try and win. That wasn't going to happen in Houston, which was a big reason why he requested his release. There's been chatter he wants to go to the Midwest. Chiefs fall into that area as well. Now, the tough thing for Kansas City, they're not going to be able to offer that much. They just aren't going to have a ton of cap flexibility. If Watt wants to chase super cheap deal and try to win a ring, he can. I don't think he's entered that point of his career, though, where he's like 36, 37, just signing minimum deals to try and win rings. He's in his early 30s. He can still play at a high level, like you see based on the stats on screen. Now, he's been banged up a lot. He's missed a lot of games over the past 4 or 5 seasons, but when he's out there, he was still top 5 in pressure rate this year. Only 5 sacks, but he was very, very productive, and Kansas City needs more pass rushers. There's no doubt about that. Chris Jones, 7.5 sacks, pretty good last year. You need a higher number for him, though. Frank Clark, kind of same deal. He was okay, but you're expecting more than 6 sacks. That's a big drop-off. Alex Okafor, 3 sacks. Michael Dana, 2.5 sacks. Tershawn Wharton, a nice undrafted free agency story with 2 sacks, but only 2 guys with 6 sacks or more on this defense last year. That's pretty disappointing for Kansas City. I think J.J. Watt would help in a major way. I find it hard to believe that he could be with Kansas City based on, the market that I think will develop for J.J. Watt this offseason. So predict it for me. Where will J.J. Watt play in 2021? Could be any team. If you think it's the Chiefs-type Chiefs, it won't be the Texans. We know that. It'll be one of the 31 other teams. So let me know what you guys think. Predict where J.J. Watt will play in 2021. All right, final story here, and this kind of indirectly or even directly impacts the Chiefs, honestly. Deshaun Watson to the Broncos. I think there's a chance this could happen. There's a report surfacing that Watson is interested in Denver. Obviously, he remains unhappy in Houston, still wants out, is not returning their phone calls, so he's making it as clear as possible that he does not want to be with the Houston Texans. Obviously, for Kansas City's sake, they've got their quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, but they play the Broncos twice a year. So they're both in the AFC West. So I wanted to talk about this for a sec. Deshaun Watson's a superstar. We know that. He's not Mahomes, but after Mahomes, he's probably the best quarterback under the age of 26 in the NFL. And we've seen these two guys have some great battles early on in their careers with the Texans and now potentially with the Broncos if this were to happen. If this happens, AFC West is loaded at quarterback, especially young guys. Patrick Mahomes, best young quarterback in the league. Deshaun Watson, probably the second best young quarterback in the league. Justin Herbert just had one of the best rookie seasons from a quarterback we've seen maybe ever, if not at least in recent memory. And then Derek Carr's no slouch either for the Raiders. That's a pretty good quartet of quarterbacks in the AFC West if Deshaun Watson lands with Denver, which he would obviously be a major upgrade for the Broncos. Hopefully this doesn't happen so the Chiefs can continue to beat up Drew Lock, but I'm intrigued. I'm following the storyline in the AFC West, and obviously it impacts the Chiefs if Deshaun Watson lands in Denver. So, like J.J. Watt, predict it for me. Where will Watson play next season? I think the Broncos are in the mix. Jets, Dolphins, Bears. Maybe the Colts get involved. Let me know what you guys think. Where will Deshaun Watson play in 2021?